Good evening, everybody. Good morning or good day, depending on what part of the world you're in. It is I, Augustine Moriar, and I feel like holding a little story time. Part of learning magic and learning what deities you're going to be working with and using, it's always good to do some research, and I always found that research hides more within its myths and legends than it does by any archaeological means. Archaeology just says, okay, it was there at this time and this was there at that time, but is it really 100% accurate? Nobody knows. Only thing that they've got is the mythos and like the Book of the Dead and all these other things, but it doesn't really tell you much about the life of Egyptians. It basically, the Book of the Dead is a huge book of incantation and spells for the soul who is traveling into the afterlife to be able to figure out different puzzles and different types of things that are asked by the Sphinx. And then you get down to Anubis and Ma'at, and you get to see if you're soul weighs against the feather of truth, and if it weighs with the feather of truth, you enter into heaven, but if it doesn't, then you get thrown into the mouth of a crocodile god. So it's good to learn who these pantheons are and what their roles are, because that is what we take on when we invoke the spirits and do God form assumptions. It's always good to know who you're messing with, who you're borrowing from, who you're praying to. So we're going to start with this little book, the Egyptian Myths and Legends. I'm going to start with the story of Ra and Isis. A lot of you already know this story, but for those of you that don't, have a seat, take a listen. This is the story of Ra and Isis, translated by E.A. Wallace Budge. The original text of this very interesting legend is written in the heretic chapter on a papyrus preserved at Turin and was published by Plate and Rossi at their Corpus of Turin papyri. It has already been seen that the god Ra, when retiring from the government of this world, took steps through Thoth to supply mankind with words of power and spells which to protect themselves against the bites of serpents and other noxious reptiles. When we read the following legend of Ra and Isis, we understand why Ra, though king of the gods, was afraid of the reptiles which lived in the kingdom of Keb. At this time, Isis lived in the form of a woman who possessed the knowledge of spells and incantations. The chapter of the divine or mighty God who created himself, who made the heavens and the earth, and the breath of life, and fire, and the gods, and men, and beasts, and cattle, and reptiles, and the fowl of the air, and the fish, who is the king of men and gods. In one form, periods of 120 years are as single years, whose names, by reason of their multitude, are unknowable, for even the gods know them not. Behold, the goddess Isis lived in the form of a woman who had the knowledge of words of power. Her heart turned away in disgust from the millions of men, and she chose for herself the millions of the gods, but esteemed more highly the millions of the spirits. Was it not possible to become even as was Ra in heaven and upon earth, and to make herself mistress of the earth, and a mighty goddess? Thus she meditated in her heart, by the knowledge of the name of the holy God. Behold, Ra entered heaven each day at the head of mariners, establishing himself upon the double throne of the two horizons. Now the divine one had become old. He dribbled at the mouth, and he let his emissions go forth from him upon the earth, and his spittle fell upon the ground. This Isis kneeled in her hand with some dust, and she fashioned it in the form of a sacred serpent, and made it to have the form of a dart, so that none might be able to escape alive from it. And she left it laying upon the road whereon the great God traveled, according to his desire, about the two lands. Then the holy God rose up in the tabernacle of the gods in the great double house, life, strength, and health. Among those who were in his train, and as he journeyed on his way according to his daily wont, the holy serpent shot its fangs into him, and the living fire was departed from the God's own body, and the reptile destroyed the dweller among the cedars. And the mighty God opened his mouth, and the cry of his majesty, life, strength, health, reached unto the heavens, and the company of the gods said, What is it? And his God said, What is the matter? And the God found no words wherewith to answer concerning himself. His jaws shook, his lips trembled, and the poison took possession of all his flesh, just as Hapi, the Nile, taketh possession of the land through which it floweth. Then the great God made firm his heart, and he cried out to those who were in his following, Come ye unto me, O ye who have come into being from my members, ye gods who have proceeded from me, for I would make you know what hath happened. I have been smitten by some deadly sting, of which my heart hath no knowledge, and which I have neither seen with my eyes nor made with my hand. And I have no knowledge at all who have done this to me. I have never before felt any pain like unto it, and no pain can be worse than this. I am a prince, the son of a prince, and the divine emanation, which was produced from a God. I am a great one, the son of the great one, and my Father hath determined for me my name. I have multitudes of names, and I have multitudes of forms, and my being existent in every God. I have been invoked or proclaimed by Timu and Huru Hekanu. My father and my mother uttered my name, and they hid it in my body at my birth, so that none of those who would use it against me as words of power might succeed in making their enhancements have dominion over me. I have come forth from my tabernacle to look upon that which I had made, and was making my way through the two lands which I had made, when a blow was aimed at me, but I know not of its kind. Behold, is it fire? Behold, is it water? My heart is full of burning fire, my limbs are shivering, and my members have darting pains in them. Let there be brought unto me the children, the gods, who possess words of magic, whose mouths are cunning, and whose powers reach up to heaven. Then his children came unto him, and every god was there with his cry of lamentation. And Isis came with her words of magic, and the place of her mouth, the breath of life, for the words which she putteth together destroy diseases, and her words make to live those whose throats are choked. And she said, What is this, O divine Father? What is it? Hath a serpent shot his venom into thee? Hath a thing which thou hast fashioned lifted up its head against thee? Verily it shall be overthrown by beneficent words of power, and I will make it to retreat in the sight of the rays. The holy God opened his mouth, saying, I was going along the road and passing the two lands of my country, for my heart wished to look upon what I had made, when I was bitten by a serpent which I did not see. Behold, is it fire? Behold, is it water? I am colder than water. I am hotter than fire. All my members sweat. I myself quake. Mine eye is unsteady. I cannot look at the heavens, and water forceth itself on my face, as in the time of the floods. And Isis said unto Ra, O my divine Father, tell me thy name, for who is able to pronounce his name liveth. And Ra said, I am the maker of the heavens and the earth. I have knit together the mountains, and I have created everything which existeth upon them. I am the maker of the waters, and I have made Mehet-ur to come into being. I have made the bull of his mother. I have made the joys of love to exist. Well, looky there. Got a little friend coming by to say hi while I read. I am the maker of heaven, and I have made to be hidden the two gods of the horizon, and I have placed the souls of the gods within them. I am the being who openeth his eyes, and the light that cometh. I am the being who shuttereth his eyes, and there is darkness. I am the being who give the command, and the waters of Hapi burst forth. I am the being whose name the gods know not. I am the maker of the hours and the creator of the days. I am the opener of the festivals and the maker of the floods of water. I am the creator of the fire of life, whereby the works of the houses are caused to come into being. I am Kephirah in the morning, and Ra at the time of his culmination, and Timu in the evening. Nevertheless, the poison was not driven from its course, and the great god felt no better. Then Isis said unto Ra, Among the things which thou hast said unto me, thy name hath not been mentioned. O declare thou it unto me, and the poison shall come forth, for the person who hath declared his name shall live. Meanwhile the poison burned with blazing fire, and the heat thereof was stronger than that of a blazing flame. Then the mystery of Ra said, the majesty of Ra said, Don't think about it, I'm reading. Then the majesty of Ra said, I will allow myself to be searched through by Isis, and my name shall come forth from my body and go into hers. Then the Divine One hid himself from the gods, and the throne in the boat of millions of years was empty. And it came to pass that when it was the time for the heart to come forth from the god, she said unto her son Horus, The great god shall bind himself by an oath to give his two eyes. Thus was the great god made to yield up his name. And Isis, the great lady of enchantment, said, Flow on, poison, and come forth. Ra, let the eye of Horus come forth from the god and shine outside his mouth. I have worked, and I have made the poison to fall on the ground, for the venom hath been mastered. Verily the name hath been taken away from the great god. Let Ra live, and let the poison die, and let the poison live then. Ra shall die, and similarly a certain man, the son of a certain man, shall live, and the poison shall die. These were the words which spake Isis, the great lady, the mistress of the gods, and she hath knowledge of Ra in her own name. The above words shall be said over an image of Timu, and an image of Hera Kenhu, and over an image of Isis, and an image of Horus. It's a very interesting story, and it's also a good piece of information. All fables start with an ounce of truth. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys are digging it tonight, or having a good time reading, doing rituals, throwing curses, hexes, dressing up, making yourself look hot in the mirror. Hey, whatever, right? I am Augustine Moriar. Thanks for hanging. Check you out. Hail Satan.